Some men got issues. Let's just call it what it is. All right. No offense to those men, okay? But many of you ladies have come across men who are insecure, who don't know how to maturely handle a relationship, who get easily intimidated because they're not sure about themselves and have confidence or haven't established themselves. And so this can lead to a lot of experiences where it seems like a man is intimidated by you, right? Or does not know how to handle you. There's a quote that says, "You can be so amazing and so rare that someone won't know how to handle you." I'm butchering the quote, so don't even worry about it. We're going to leave that quote alone. The bottom line is, all right, yes, there are a lot of men who are not equipped to handle you and see your value. However, and I want you to keep an open mind, there are things that you may be doing that can be contributing to why a man would be intimidated by you or find you even unapproachable. Okay? Now, do not take this as blaming you. View this as I'm trying to empower you, because by having clarity on all the possibilities and you being willing to address these things, you can then start to experience better results. Because at the end of the day, if we're not getting what we want, there's probably something different we can start doing. Okay? And when we're open to that, that's a beautiful, amazing, wonderful thing. So I want to break down for you 7 reasons why a man may be intimidated by a woman like you. All right? One of those first things that I think doesn't get spoken about enough is that you are too hard to read. What am I saying? So I meet a lot of women, and I'll use my own personal experience right now, as in dating, right? Where I've gone out with women where, and I'm someone who knows how to read people very well. I have a very innate gift on being able to evaluate, pick up on things, the little small details. I'm very in tune with my intuition, all these different things. And despite that, I have experienced women where it's like a blank piece of paper. I cannot figure out how they're feeling, what they're thinking, what's their energy, nothing. Okay? And for a man, that can be and that can be very difficult to deal with. All right? And I think for people in general, because you as a woman, if you went out with a man and you couldn't read him at all, that may make you more cautious. All right? That may cause you to be more nervous, right? Make you unsettled. And so the same thing happens to a lot of men. Or simply, I'm not even going to bother with this. Like, if this is too hard to decipher, I'm not going to bother with this. Now, some people, I would argue, are just naturally hard to read. That's just who they are. You as a woman, that just might be who you are. You don't wear your emotions on your sleeve. You don't show a lot in your body language. That may genuinely be you. However, for many of you, the issue is you have a wall up. All right? And that wall runs interference in someone's ability to receive your energy, receive your spirit, and really be able to even connect with you. All right? Now, I always say the same walls you have up to protect you are the same walls blocking your blessings. And I understand that as a woman, you feel having a wall up may be justified. At least some of you may feel it's justified because you're in your mind, well, you have to protect yourself. You've been through some things. You don't want to get hurt, disappointed, used, so on and so forth. I get it. But the goal has to be learning how to navigate the space of dating without having that wall up. Because all it does is throw things off. All it does is make you harder to approach. All it does is cause someone to not understand how you feel. And what's coming to me real quick is like, I've seen situations where a man is trying to be with a woman. He really likes her, really into her. But again, hard to read. She's not giving him much emotion, expressing much. She has that wall up. But then let's say there's another woman who is shooting her shot like seriously, and she has no problem letting that man know how she feels, and in some ways pursuing him and all these different things. And for some men, they end up choosing that woman because it feels like, well, she actually wants me, whereas this other one who's not showing me anything, she must not be that into me. But little does he know, she's very into him. She just has a wall up. She's just scared to be vulnerable. She's just overthinking the situation. And all of that is throwing things off. Now, I want to get also to the point of intimidation. Because when you are hard to read, again, that can strike fear in someone because they don't understand what's going on. They cannot evaluate you properly, and that makes the situation feel unsafe. Because again, most people have not healed, have been through something, and therefore they just don't want to get hurt. And so if you're too hard to read, it's like rather than risk deeper rejection, let me just walk away. So anyways, all that to say, yes, that is an issue, but understand it stems from the wall and we have to do something about that. And I'm going to mention something at the end of this video about how we learn how to move forward without the wall, but still safely navigate the dating space. All right. So another reason why a man may be intimidated by a woman like yourself is because simply you're just very attractive. So a lot of men are, as I said in the very beginning of this video, they got issues, but there's also a lot of insecure men. Okay. And I had made a video a while back about like why a lot of men don't marry the very attractive woman and may go for a more simpler looking woman, right? And when I say simpler, because simpler, that may have came out wrong. They're just someone who's just more average. That's probably sounds bad too, but you know what I'm saying, all right? They don't want, let's put it like this. This will make it more clear. There are men, I know a lot of women don't like that men use scales of like 1 to 10 and rating women like that. But to help, bring clarity to this, there are men who will tell other men or who believe in you don't go for the 9 or the 10, right? There are things that they believe will come with the 9 or a 10. You go for the 7, maybe the 8, right? But somewhere there. Some guys, they might go for the 5s and the 6. Depends, but the bottom line is they don't want to go for the top end of the looks scale. And so, one, understand that, listen, I don't want you to dumb yourself down, right? Or make yourself look less than because men can't handle your beauty. There's other ways that I believe you can, that I know you can counteract that if this is indeed your specific issue, right? I just want you to understand and be aware of the fact that yes, there are a lot of men who simply because of how you look will make assumptions about you, okay? Or will assume they don't have a shot in hell with you and they won't even bother, which is why, like, I've talked to a lot of women who are considered very attractive women. And a lot of times they get approached the least. Okay. Now, of course, that may not seem to be true to some because you may be seeing certain women, whether it be online or whatever, that get hit up all the time. And I think online it can be different. But in person, uh, there's a lot of women like that they don't get any action in person. Now, are there other possible factors? Of course, and we'll talk about some of them. But beauty is an issue for some men. Also, understand this. For some men, if they find you very attractive, they don't want to deal with the attention that you get. All right. So whether it be due to their own insecurities or their well, I guess it just all boils down to insecurities. But at the end of the day, like I've seen men where they will attempt to dumb you down. And if I'm being completely honest with you, there are men who will get with a woman and they want her to put on a lot of excess weight. They want to do things that might change how people perceive her, okay? And change the level of attention that she's receiving. I'm just telling you what literally has been said to me and literally I've seen before. Um, and so you want to be mindful of that and understand that whoever you entertain, whoever is willing to talk to you, are they really someone that can handle being with someone like you? All right. Because there's so many situations where even the men who are saying they want this super beautiful woman, they get with her and then now they all mad because everywhere they go, there's always people stopping them and men and women looking. Like some women get looks from everybody, okay, not just from other men. And again, because they can't handle it and they're insecure, they end up causing problems with you. So, anyways, you get the point. I don't need to drag this point on. Bottom line is, yes, your level of attractiveness can be a reason why a man's intimidated by you. All right, so here's another very common reason why a man might be intimidated by a woman such as yourself. And that is because you exude a lot of masculine energy. Okay. Now, understand, and again, this is one of those points where I really want you to have an open mind. I believe there's a lot of women, I know there's a lot of women who they don't fully understand, and some don't even believe in this whole masculine, feminine energy. And because of that, they're not aware of how they come across and the energy, the spirit that they're exuding. Okay. And with that, they don't understand how that not only plays into how approachable they are, but then also who they get approached by. All right. So let me start with this angle of it. A lot of women who exude a lot of masculine energy can still attract men. However, they don't tend to get the type of men they would want. Because the masculine man who most women desire, the man who has his stuff together, the man who can handle his business, the man who can make decisions, all these different things, he is repelled by the woman's exuding too much masculine energy. He may be willing to sleep with that woman, but his desire to pursue her romantically is extremely diminished. However, there's a different kind of man who will gladly accept you in all your masculine energy. And that is the man who's not walking in his masculine energy. That is the man who typically does not have his stuff together. He views you as someone who can stabilize his life. He views you as someone that he can lean on, right, and hold him down, even if he has no intentions of ever allowing you to truly pull himself up. He just wants to ride your coattails. Either way, that guy will accept your masculine energy. You know who else also will accept your masculine energy is the man who, even if I'm gonna put it like this, and I don't want it to sound bad. But I know of many married couples where the type of man who accepted the woman who exudes a lot of masculine energy is the very passive man. Even so, basically, he can still be a good man. He can still have his stuff together as far as he has a stable job and things like that, right? But typically, that guy is not the go-getter. He's not the assertive type. He's going to default to you. And for a lot of women, because again, they're not understanding the whole masculine feminine dynamic, in that time of their life, they may be accepting of that man. However, over time, they grow disgusted by that man. They lose respect for that man. They feel overwhelmed and overburdened by that man. And it throws everything off. But that's a whole different discussion. Getting back to the intimidation factor, a lot of times when the issue is masculine energy, it's not about intimidation. It's more so about I don't want to deal with that. All right? Because again, the man who has his stuff together, if you come across and so if you come across in this manner, he just feels like that's just too difficult to deal with. All right? Because you have to understand when you are exuding masculine energy, you're gonna come across, you can come across more cold, more detached, more rough. We use the word rough. All right. There's a lot of different words. And please understand, some of the things that you may give off, it doesn't even mean it truly defines masculine energy, but it comes across that way. Okay. So you got to be mindful of that. And for some of you, you've gotten so accustomed to all this masculine energy, or you feel like you've been dealt a situation that you have had no choice but to constantly be in your masculine, right? Maybe you are doing everything on your own. Maybe you're raising kids on your own. Maybe you work in corporate America. You know, whatever the case may be. Maybe you're the one that holds the whole family down, right? All these different reasons that can cause a woman to walk more in her masculine. But it's a very unhealthy thing, all right? And it's putting a lot of stress on your body, on a lot of stress just in general. And so, regardless of how men receive it and perceive it, I'm going to always encourage you to learn how to get more into your feminine, to get more comfortable walking and exuding that energy, to address any root issues that may be causing this to happen. But understand that, yes, this will play a role in how men perceive you, men's willingness to approach you, to pursue your relationship. And this is what I want to say, and I have forgot it, but I just remembered it. I know for a lot of you, one of the reasons why you don't grasp this whole issue is because in your eyes, you are very feminine. Because in reality, when you are in a relationship, you have no problem sliding into your feminine. You know how to tap into that. The problem is, if you don't know how to exude that in your everyday life, how is a man supposed to know you possess that ability? And since we are at a time in society where people aren't trying to dig deeper and discover. Like, this is a very microwave mentality society. That's one part of it. But also understand that when you're dealing with adults, both men and women, they don't, like, no one wants to walk around and say, I have to peel back all these various layers to figure you out, to understand if you are feminine or possess certain things I desire, because it's like, yo, I don't have time for that. It's almost like if we told a woman, oh, well, if you see a man who doesn't exude masculine energy and that's what you desire, oh, get to know him anyway and see if maybe, you can pull it out of him. No. You ain't got time for that. You're not doing that. Well, same thing happens on the other side. So all that to say, yes, exuding too much masculine energy can create, whether we call it intimidation or just an unwillingness to engage, entertain, and pursue you. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. You know, there's a lot of people who will say to me that they believe you can be with someone for years and not truly know them. And I agree, that happens a lot, right? But I don't think that's just a symptom